and these are best given in the form of either inhalers or rotahalers. Let me just demonstrate to you because this is an important thing. This is an inhaler. This is a typical inhaler. This is the cap. Let me just show to you how an inhaler is to be taken. You open it, you shake it up and down, you place your finger over here ready so that when you want you can inhale it. There should be no fumbling at the last moment. Keep it ready. Breathe out slowly but against pursed lips like this. Let me show you. So what I have effectively done is I have emptied out my lungs slowly, and in breathing out, if an asthmatic breathes out casually, this is likely to happen to him. He start coughing. He will not be able to breathe out. So he breathes out against pursed lips. This will never cause any coughing. Completely breathe out, empty your lungs, then put this in the mouth, actuate the thing. Just at the time of actuation, start breathing in. Breathe in completely. Hold it there as long as you can, but at least for 10-15 seconds, and then let go. Better let go through the nose so that whatever medicine is getting wasted or going out, this does help you in the nose also, because most of the asthmatics will have some nasal issues also. This is one, and then maybe you can repeat another one after half a minute or so. After taking your 1 or 2 puff, whatever has been prescribed, one must mouth rinse. Because a major portion of this medicine is stuck in the mouth or in the throat, 80 or 90%. The rest goes inside. What is stuck in the mouth is useless. It will get absorbed. We don't want that. So just rinse your mouth with ordinary tap water and spit it out. So this is one way. Another very simple way, effective good way, is what is called rotahalers or rotacaps. Principle is still the same. This is a small amount of medicine kept in a rotacap. You insert it, transparent side first, make it level to this, rotate the lower end. You will find that the lower portion of the capsule breaks. Rest everything is same actually in principle. Breathe out completely in the mouth. Hold it there. At least 10-15 seconds. Can't hold anymore. Slowly let go through your nose. Again mouth rinse. So these are some of the methods of delivering the medicine into the air tubes. There they go and work over there, control the inflammation, and asthma gets under control. Sometimes we have to add on certain medicines. These will be oral medications. Sometimes really one would require some injections, etc. So this is the drug treatment of asthma. Second thing, that is education of the patient. Patient has to be educated what is asthma, what causes it, how to avoid that. So some time has to be spent with the patient. Every visit the patient makes to the hospital or to the clinic or to the doctor, he must be encouraged to bring his devices so that we can check and recheck correct method of taking the medication. That's very, very important, because sometimes old asthmatics they feel that they know and they just don't want to listen, they don't want to accept a new thing. But we have to coach them properly what is the correct way of taking medication. Partnership, I talked about partnership. I think we have dealt with that. Immunotherapy, little bit we had talked. See, immunotherapy has now gaining acceptance in the medical world once again. It is a therapy which is very, very old. It's been practiced for over 100 years or so. But since the WHO position paper has come in 1998, the medical world is now recognizing this kind of therapy again. And the evidence in favor of this kind of therapy as being effective is so strong that it cannot be ignored. The WHO says this is the only scientific treatment which can alter the natural history of asthma. If you have an asthmatic tendency, the tendency can go down. If you have an allergic rhinitis, the chances of developing asthma are reduced greatly, or you may never develop asthma. If you are sensitized to one thing and you get immunotherapy against thing, the chances of further kind of sensitizations are reduced. So this is a very good kind of treatment. This is practiced in very few centers. Our center is practicing for the last 14 or 15 years or so. So this is in a nutshell the broad framework of treatment of asthma. Many times when we start the treatment of asthma first time in a patient, the patient will usually ask us these one or two questions. Dr. Saab, aren't these inhalers habit forming? But I have heard that steroids have got side effects. I hope this does not have any steroid in it. These fears are genuine. You just have to properly explain and allay the patient's fears. Are they habit forming? No, they are not habit forming. Asthma is a chronic condition. We have to control it. So for that reason, you have to take the inhalers properly and regularly. It is not as if there is something in the inhaler which will make you habituated to that. You need to drink water every day. It's not that the water is habit forming. You need to drink water every day, that's all. You need to take a bath every day, that's all. Number 2, about steroids. Now many people are steroid phobic. They are afraid of this word. Steroids in India are sometimes misused. My experience is that bad doctors and bad patients have given steroids a bad name. As a result of that, good patients and good doctors will suffer from not using steroids when they can obviously help the patient rather than anything opposite of that. When the doctor knows what he's doing and the patient is also an aware patient, there are no side effect issues, particularly so with inhaled corticosteroids. These are in micrograms. They are going directly into the air tubes. They are designed in such a way that less than 2% of what goes inside gets absorbed into the bloodstream. They are approved by all world health bodies for use in pregnant women and in children. These are two areas, two groups of people whom safety clearance is given after a great deal of study. So you can allay the fears of the patients by telling them all these things, and then the patients understand these things also. So they are very safe. They are very safe in children, they are safe in pregnant women, and they are safe for most people. Yes, but sometimes there are genuinely people who have a typically seasonal problem. They will only have problem in March, April, and September, October. No need to give them inhaled corticosteroids all the year round. Try to reduce slowly these inhaled corticosteroids and treat them at the lowest level in which they are effective. The aim is not somehow to reduce the dose. The aim is to control asthma, but at the lowest possible dose. Many times patients want to know what precautions they should be observing in their house particularly. It's a very important area. They should not be having wall-to-wall carpets. They should not be having heavy upholstery. House dust should be minimized. They should be in their bedroom. See, bedroom is important because you are spending at least 8 hours sleep in a particular room. So it becomes very, very important. It should not have carpets. It should not have heavy upholstery. It should not be too many things lying in the room so that dusting becomes a problem. It accumulates dust. House dust mites are a very important cause of asthma. So that has to be minimized, particularly in children. Asthma children should have their kitchen absolutely alright. There should not be too many cockroaches over there. There should not be any cockroaches over there. They can get sensitized to that. Indians are very finicky about diet. Parhez. If a doctor doesn't tell them parhez, in their eyes at least, this doctor is no good. So parhez is important. When I started my practice, when I was a very junior, I'm still a junior doctor, but I was a very junior doctor, I used to also think that what has diet got to do with asthma? Asthma is caused by this and that. But slowly over the years I have realized that diet is definitely important. These are generally the things in my experience which an asthmatic should try to avoid. Extremely cold water, cold drinks, ice, chilled beer. Almost invariably, when the person is not controlled, these kind of things will aggravate the problem. Deep fried stuff, especially at night. Desserts, sweet dish at night. Heavy or late dinner. They will exacerbate asthma, and now we know how it will exacerbate asthma because these are the very things which cause reflux. Reflux we know causes exacerbation of asthma, so they should avoid that. Rajma, masabat dal, citrus fruit juices, ice cream, peanuts, walnuts, cashew nuts, processed cheese, sometimes, not always, sometimes causes problem. Just make the patient aware that these things can cause problem. When you are having them, be careful. Observe. Bhindi, arbi, kamal kakdi, lacy vegetables sometimes causes problem. So make the patient aware about these things. What can a patient expect from good asthma treatment? Many times they will ask, will I be able, with my child, be able to play in sports? Will I be able to live a normal life? Yes, indeed. Why not? There have been so many sportsmen who have been asthmatics. 12% of Olympic gold medalists have been asthmatics, which means more than the average number of asthma patients in the world. So means it is no hindrance to them at all. So in asthma, once it is well controlled, the person can expect to live a normal life. He can take part in sports. He should not be getting up at night. He should not be missing school or work because of his asthma. He should carry out all normal activities any normal person can do, including sport activities. He should not suffer the consequences of asthma on his lungs in the form of deterioration of lung function. And he should not experience side effects of medication. If he is dealing with his asthma properly and his doctor is aware what he is doing, all these things are possible in 95% of the patients. 5% of the cases are like that, who are what we would call difficult asthma. In spite of the best that you're doing for the patient, the treatment and the outcome or the control is not optimal. But these are rare cases. By and large, it is possible to control asthma very nicely. Last message, if I have to just give my concluding remarks, I would say approach it in a positive way. Okay, I have this problem. Who doesn't have a problem? God has not made any human being as a perfect specimen of health. This thing or that thing, somebody will have a little joint problem, somebody will have sneezing, somebody will have asthma, somebody will have blood pressure. In today's world, today's time, asthma is very easily controllable. So have a positive attitude towards it, understand what I have to do about it, and approach it in a positive framework rather than, oh, I've got asthma and this, that. That is not, negative approach is not going to be helpful. With that, I think we will conclude. Thank you so much.